Oh, I didn't get to introduce myself, but that's okay.
Oh, we'll introduce you as our guest speaker.
No way, no way. I'm joining the conversation. We are all going to leave here. Hi, my name is Kisiwaa. I'm originally Ghanaian,
You
but
can show us your
hypothetically I'm
face while
Nigerian.
you're at it.
I'm Nigerian, guys. My favorite food is samu and egusi. I love that. So it's a
Okay.
pleasure to meet all of you.
But Eunice, we can't see your face. I want to see your Egusi
Oh my
loving
God.
face.
How did I hide my pretty Nigerian face? Can you see me?
Beautiful.
Hi. My
Uh,
favorite word from Nigeria is makbami.
Makbami.
Yeah.
Do you know what
That's
that
what
means?
I'm-
Eunice, I was asking if you know what that means. Makbami.
I don't know. My best friend is Nigerian. She always be saying, Kisiwa makbami now. So it just stuck in my. It's either Pele or makbami. So I don't know what it
Makbami.
means, but I know I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay, I don't know if anyone online knows. I know what it means, but I'll allow our second guest speaker answer when he gets on because he's a Yoruba guy and Makpami is Yoruba.
Oh,
So
it's Yoruba.
we'll
Okay,
repeat it when
okay.
he joins us. All right,
Bet.
everyone. Welcome. Thank you. For everyone else joining us, please introduce yourself in the chat box, your name and where you're tuned in from. I am Onyinye Ede Vincent, and I happen to be the moderator for this afternoon or this morning's conversation, wherever you are. And I'm also the founder and lead strategist of the Adolescent and Youth Engagement Hub. I'll tell you more about the hub shortly. All right. So today's agenda, we're going to tell you what the AYE Hub is all about. We will introduce our guest speakers and then have a guided conversation with them about 20 minutes where we get to hear their story and how they're localizing the Sustainable Development Goals. And then we'll go into a question and answer session to give you a chance to really connect with them and ask any questions you might have. And then we'll wrap up with some closing remarks. We hope to get you out of here no later than an hour, 15 minutes. But I know we're going to have a very lively conversation. Thank you all for joining. I see we had a couple more people join us. Please introduce yourself in the chat box and tell us where you're tuning in from. Once again, I'm Onyinye Ede Vincent, and I'm the founder of the AYE Hub. So I should say Happy International Youth Day, but it was actually August 12th. That was last week. But for those of you who don't know, International Youth Day is commemorated every year. And it's basically a day where we celebrate how young people are contributing to global development and also highlights issues that impact young people all over the world. And this year's theme is all about localizing action for the SDGs. So we're going to be learning about how young people are actually taking these big sustainable development goals to break them down and actually create impacts in their local communities. So what are the SDGs? I don't know if anybody wants to say. I feel like all of us should know what the SDGs are, but I don't want to assume. But if someone wants to tell us what the SDGs are just in a sentence or two, please feel free to unmute yourself. This is your chance. Going once, going twice. First person to unmute or type it in the chat box. Fastest fingers. Nobody wants to tell me the SDGs? All right. Well, in simple form, the SDGs represents or it stands for Sustainable Development Goals, and it's a set of 17 interconnected goals that were established by several countries. So it's not just low or middle income countries. All over the world, all countries are committing that by 2030, we want to be able to have advanced development in these 17 areas. So we have goals around education, quality education, around gender equality, around climate change, around health and nutrition. We have SDGs around even partnerships. How can we enhance partnerships to ensure that development can actually be sustainable? So you can learn more about it if you just Google SDGs, you find out more online. All right, so how are we? The AYE Hub is a youth platform that is showcasing thought leadership on youth engagement. We're also here to educate young professionals on careers and developments and provide some technical insights for organizations that want to know how best to meaningfully and inclusively engage young people. We're also here to amplify expert voices and youth perspectives as we're doing today with this webinar. And our whole goal is really to advocate for youth-centered policies and to ensure that young people are incorporated into creating the world that we all want to see. Why do we exist? Our vision at the Adolescent and Youth Engagement Hub is that we want to see a world where young people are meaningfully engaged, where they are empowered, and where they're supported through responsive health systems and inclusive development. On a day-to-day basis, we are dedicated to amplifying expert perspectives, equipping young professionals, and supporting organizations in designing and implementing youth-friendly policies and programs. So we trust that you all are the right audience and you're going to learn a lot from today's conversation. So I hope you grab a pen or grab your cell phone, whatever you have to take notes, because we're going to be sharing some really great and valuable nuggets. All right, so just quickly, let me check the chat. I see Queen has already given away what Mark by me means. Yes, it means don't kill me. So Eunice, your best friend is always telling you, don't kill me, Eunice. All right. We have Goodwill Bassi from Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. Thank you for being here. We have Nokutenda Makono, all the way from Zimbabwe, and it's afternoon in Zimbabwe. And she is a recent, she's an undergraduate studying law. We have Joshua. Joshua is here from Abuja, Nigeria, and he said the SDGs are a set of goals that are instituted by various countries, and it's a sprout from the MDGs, yes, which are the Millennium Development Goals. I feel like I owe you data credits, Joshua. So type in your phone number and we'll get you some credits for being the one to answer my question. I love doing giveaways, so thank you for hopping on that, and we appreciate your engagement. All right, so let's get to meet our speakers. Joshua is having, oh, Joshua is here. Great. Joshua, when you can, if you can turn on your video, we'll love to see your face. But I'm just going to do a quick introduction to our speakers so that you get to know more about their background. So Eunice, you have to tell us how to pronounce your last name. I'm so sorry. But Eunice actually works at the intersection of peace and security, youth engagement, gender equality, and international development across all levels, from the grassroots to international. She actually possesses 7 years of experience designing and delivering programs across America and Africa. Her expertise spans policy advocacy, stakeholder engagement, and multi-sector partnerships that are all rooted in a deep commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals. She has trained and mentored more than 1,600 youths and security personnel on the UNSCR 2250, that's on peace and security, and also the UNSCR 1325, which focuses on women, peace, and security across America, Ghana, Nigeria, and East Africa. She is currently part of the technical working group that is drafting Ghana's National Action Plan on Youth, Peace, and Security, which will shape the national policy to institutionalize youth inclusion in peace building. So please give a round of applause to our speaker, Eunice. And then I'll also introduce Joshua. Joshua is a friend of mine. Joshua, I'm so excited to see your face because it's been too long since we connected. But I think I met Joshua either in 2016 or so, but we've known each other for a while. When he actually first started the Nigerian Youth SDGs, I mean, I still have our picture where we met with the ambassador to Denmark in Nigeria back then. We were doing some advocacy visits, trying to mobilize young people to tell them what the SDGs are. So it's really great to have Joshua join us today. So Joshua is a passionate advocate for systemic change, focused on youth development, sustainable policies, and community engagement. With 10 years of experience, he has led impactful initiatives in the UK and the Global South, securing significant grants and empowering young people to drive change. He founded the Nigeria Youth SDGs to promote youth leadership in policy and programs. And his work has spanned program management, sustainable development, and policy advocacy with a strong track record in delivering results through strategic partnerships. So thank you for being here, Joshua, and we're looking forward to learning more about you and the work that you do. I should add that Eunice was recently at the High Level Political Forum in New York. So I hope that at some point as she speaks to us, she gets to connect the dots for us, how you can work at the grassroots level, but also engage in global conversations that are happening. All right, so let's get into it. So let's meet our speakers. I'm going to ask questions and I would ask Eunice and Joshua to respond to the questions according to however you feel like answering. So why do you believe that local youth-led initiatives are critical to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals? And Eunice, you can start.
Muting. Okay, now I'm unmuted. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. So, going straight to the point, why I think local youth are the instruments, not a part, the instruments, because grassroots is where everything starts. Grassroots has been the bedrock of everything because the change we are seeing today are as a result of what people said people wanted to do, and it got up there because we are the ones that face every single thing, the people down there, grassroots. What is happening in the cities may not make sense to what is happening to the people at the grassroots. So if a change is able to start and manifest at the grassroots level, holding youth, because one, we have the tenacity, we have the tendency to carry each other along, and we are accountable for the things we do. A typical example is how Gambia was able to do through one young person to move the youth peace and security agenda. So they developed their action plan because they saw what happened in their country through the lenses of Yahya Jammeh. And then they saw the need for them to come together. And this didn't happen in the cities of Gambia. It happened in the rural areas of Gambia. So, youth involvement through the grassroots level metamorphoses into something better in the regional, continental, international phases. It has always been the root. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eunice. Joshua, let's hear from you. Why is youth engagement critical?
Thank you so much, Onyinye, and really balanced view, Eunice. I love the storytelling. Just pardon me if at any point you stop hearing me. I'm having technical issues, and I'm currently on my phone. So for me, the first thing is that as someone who is young, young people make up more than half of our global population. In Nigeria, young people make about 65% of the population. So it means that for anything that's happening in the country, young people feel the issue the most. Another thing is that for sustainable development is about the present and the future. Young people are those that are being faced with most of the issues that is happening now in the present, and they are also going to bear the repercussion for issues that are not fixed right now. So they are pivotal because one, they have ideas on how these problems can be solved. Not just having ideas alone, they also have like practical lived experience on solutions because they've seen it play out in different parts of the world. So they could bring in their own the local context into the implementation. They can bring in local context into solutions, and the third reason is because young people are interested in rewriting the systems that has brought us to where we are today. I meet a lot of young people, and one of the things they say is the reason why I do the work I do is because I want my community to be better. So they are not focused on I, they are usually focused on we. If you meet somebody who is maybe a baby boomer, the first thing they think about is themselves and their family. But today's young person is thinking about their community. They understand that if their community is better, they are better too. So there's that shift from I to we, and we know the Ubuntu bit that when we all come together, we can do great things too. So this is why young people are central to sustainable development. This is why young people are central to local effort. When a young person knows something, they bring other persons into the room, and they have ideas, they have the creativity, they have the agency to really make change happen, because they know that when change happens, it wouldn't just impact them alone, it would also make sure that the community gets better. So this is why young people are central towards the localization of the sustainable development goals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eunice and Joshua. Um, Now I want to ask both of you if you can tell us about a defining moment in your journey that shaped your commitment to youth development and the SDGs. And I think this is a good way for you to like introduce yourself in your own words to us, but tell us like how did you come to this point where you're engaged in youth development? So tell us, what was that defining moment? Eunice, it can come back to you.
I'll say my defining moment was seeing how my community and people in uniform had a banter. I originally come from Wenchi. It's a very small village in Ghana, and we were trained to be quiet, not for gender purposes, but because we didn't want a lot of issues in our community. And there was a time, I think the 2008 elections in Ghana, I was a very young child or something there. And my people decided, because we didn't have good roads, we didn't have good shelter, water, like basic necessities, we didn't have it. And we had a president emanate from that city or that village. His name was Buzia. He was a president for some few years. But yeah, we had a president, and we didn't see the need why we have had someone instrumental like this rule the whole of Ghana, but we still lack basic necessities. So my people decided they were not going to vote. When the people in uniform came to my community, instead of them having dialogues, conversations, or negotiations to reach on a consensus on why the people didn't want to vote and the way forward, they started beating them. And I remember at that time I was very young, and when they were throwing the armor cars together with the stones and everything, because my people are pretty brutal too, so they were also throwing stones back at them. And I remember standing there asking one policeman why they are beating our people, and my mother came to hold my hand and literally dragged me off the place. That day, something broke in me. That day, something changed in me. So I decided to be the mouthpiece for the people who wouldn't talk. And it was hard, but I knew for sure peace and security would be the only way where I could understand what people in uniform bring, the dynamics in the peace in Ghana, and also give back whatever my people wanted. That particular name, when Chi people are rowdy, became a whole system name that deprived us of a lot of things. And when I say deprived us of a lot of things, it means young people were equally suffering. Just as Mr. Mr. Joshua said, in this dispensation where we have almost 70 people in Africa being young people below the age 35, and we are the ones suffering, it wouldn't make sense to me as a young African child to sit down and look at it happen. I started this journey walking through the part of carrying people along, making them understand the dynamics. I studied documents, interpreted the documents through the lenses of both lawyers, policy writers, and people living with disabilities. I was very big on people living with disabilities because I have a couple of friends like that. And as it stands, I have a friend who just joined us. He's deaf and dumb. I encouraged him to actually do programming. He's a computer programmer and he's joined us. He cannot hear us, he cannot do anything to us. I cannot speak sign language, but he still joined us. So seeing things like that gave me the drive. And I know we all know about drive, how the three forms of drive move people from mystery to purpose. Mine was strictly purpose. I wanted things to change in my community. And I knew staying in my community to do it will be very good. But moving from my community to other stages in life will be extremely good. But moving internationally, where the main decisions are made, will be exceptionally good. And that was how I went through the journey. Thank you.
Wow, that's a powerful story of what motivated you to get started. I mean, and it all has to start with our home. They say charity begins at home. When you see injustice, you can't look at, oh, injustice happening in another community and start protesting against it, but in your very own community. So
Yeah,
thank you so much for sharing that. And to your
thank
point
you.
about inclusivity, thank you to your friend. I was trying to enable captions. Well, but he said he's okay, deaf and dumb, but he would, if we were able to have captions, he would have been able to read.
Yes, if we
Um,
had captions, he would have
Yes,
been able to
and it
read.
seems I'm struggling to find how to do that, but
It's okay.
that is a point for us to ensure that we try to because we try to be intentional about promoting inclusive events. But thank you so much for having your friend join us. Okay,
And
over.
let me add
Yes,
that
go ahead. Yeah.
I became the family disappointment just to get to where I am because my parents wanted me to be a lawyer.
Oh, of the African story, African youth
Right.
story.
Yeah, so it is an uncomfortable thing, but success comes with uncomfortable. If you are comfortable with something, I don't think your success story is meaningful. That's just personal. Something must push you, something must make you uncomfortable so you can give back to society. It's just the way it is.
So true, so true. Thank you so much for sharing. Joshua, over to you. Tell us about the defining moment for you on this journey and why you decided to get involved.
Sure. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Can you hear me okay? All right,
Yes, we can.
cool. All right, good. Hopefully the network holds on. So really good story, Eunice, and sometimes we need all this to propel us. And for me, uh it happened while it happened during a strike action during my undergrad. Um and I had this gave me the opportunity to go volunteer in a rural community in a place called Kwara State in Nigeria, and I volunteered for 90 days supporting primary school teachers and primary school learners to in around education literacy. And when I was in this community for 90 days, I saw firsthand how the experience I had from where I was coming from was more useful to them when it comes to education attainment. I wasn't a teacher, but I was supporting the teacher in the primary school. And we were able to come up with fun activities to engage the learners. I also discovered that, so this was a big school, a primary school with about 14 blocks of classrooms, but out of these 14 blocks of classroom, only about five or six was being used. So in fact, you had primary four and five using one room. And I was curious, I was like, why do we have 14 blocks of classrooms and we're having a class having to learners from different age grade? And when I went in, I saw that most of the doors, the windows were broken. I was like, these are things that we could fix and make the place learner friendly. I also discovered that the children love reading. The headmistress, she had lots of books in her office, but they were all stacked up in a box. and so there was no library. And in my findings, I saw that a lot of illustrious people from that town, from that village, actually attended this primary school. So with that, I spoke to the head teacher to say, is it possible for me to approach these individuals to fundraise for us to put some classes in order, build a lib, make sure one of the classrooms can also serve as a library for the students. And she was like, yeah, it was okay. So I wrote letters, I started calling, went visiting, and we at that time, so this was 2013. At that time, we needed about 200 pounds to do this. And I was like, 200 pounds. I had someone who was from the UK who was volunteering with me then. And this person was like, 200 pounds is something I could ask someone back home to send to me to do this. But I was like, no, we don't need people to send us this money. It has to be the community doing this. And we went into the community. First, we went to the head of the community, the Oba in Yoruba, that's the king. And when we went to meet him, we told him about the project, and he was like, "Yeah, that's the school I went to. In fact, my children are, and it's obviously his children were attending the school too." So from there, we got the first money. He gave us entry points into other people to speak to. We had people donate in kind. Some people were like, "Oh, sorry, we don't have money, but we'll bring in our manpower." And just by me taking that action, the school had additional blocks of classroom to use. They had a library. In fact, we got a local painter who drew on the wall. It became so comfortable for people to use. And that was the beginning for me. It's like with just this little action of mine, I was able to revive something. So, and this was when the we were already planning for the SDGs. So I was like, if we got more young people invested in the SDGs, I am so sure that we are going to be able to catalyze action in Nigeria. We're going to be able to hold key decision makers accountable. And that was how the process began for me as a person. And it has never stopped until now. I would say that the first way I've learned how to run partnership, build because I've built lots of partnerships today. It started right from that community in 2013. And I believe that we can only make great change happen with quality partnership, government, young people, private sector coming together. We need to reason together. We need to come in alignment. It's not it's not us against us. It is us working together. So if it's working, if government understand the needs of the community, if the community is able to provide more context, it helps government and the community to be able to work together. And that has been my journey to what you've seen called the Nigerian Youth SDGs Network today. Started from that community somewhere in Kwara State where I learned practical aspect of partnership building, bringing stakeholders together and working as one person towards a defined goal. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that story, Joshua. And you touched on something that I was going to ask about what makes a successful partnership and just in your experience, but maybe you would specifically address that question later on. And now I want to ask, with all the projects you've done, can you give us an example of a project that has contributed to one or more of the SDGs. I know that with the Nigerian Youth SDGs, you probably cover all of them, but if there's a significant project that you can pinpoint and say, we set out to contribute to this particular goal within the 17 goals, and this was the impact we made. Can you share an example of a specific project? And Eunice, you can also address the question. Oh, Joshua, you're muted.
All right, cool. So do I would for Nigerian Youth SDGs, our major core is um policy influencing and capacity building. And I would talk about how this has really informed the way that government, young people, youth stakeholders work together. So recently we worked on a project around raising awareness on the role of young people on youth leadership in Nigeria's climate action policy. And for that to happen, one of the first things we needed to understand what was the gap. Why are young people not involved meaningfully in climate action in Nigeria? It's not that they are not aware. It's not that they are not taking action in their local community, but more of how much action are they taking when it comes to in governance, in policy, and the policy process. So what we did was we tried to identify youth organizations to work with, and our target was the Nationally Determined Contribution 3.0, which is the NDC 3.0, stemmed up from the Paris Agreement in 2015, to ensure that we are able to keep the rise in temperature, the global temperature, not to go beyond 2.0, not to go beyond 2.0 degrees, basically. Not and from there are lots of um, areas for young people, for civil society organization, and for government. And for government, according to the Paris Agreement, was to make sure that every 5 years there's more urgent action when it comes to the taking climate action. So that's where the NDCs, the nationally determined contributions, come about. And Nigeria has set, I think, 2060 to become um climate neutral, whatever that means to by 2060. But the national determined contributions were things that they were agendas that you need to look up to every 5 years. So we found out that one, many young people are not even aware of the NDCs. Not just that they are not aware, they are not even involved in the process. And so what we did as an organization was first build the capacity of youth organizations to understand what the NDCs are. And after doing that, we gave them a couple of trainings. We also we use the train the trainer method to be able to reach other youth organizations. And when they were aware, through this method, we brought in 15 youth organizations. They went on to train 169. And when that was done, they also had to take out dialogues in their community. So what was this dialogue about? Informing communities around the NDCs, why climate action is important, what they are doing that is leading to environmental issues in the community. And during all of this, bringing community people together, bringing in their unique voice. And it was at that point that some of them were like, oh, we've noticed that it's not been raining for a while. And we'll let them know that this rain has not been raining the way it has always been. It's because of climate change. And this is the reason why the crops are not yielding. This is the reason why we're having conflict even in the Sahel region. And they were like, oh wow, we never knew about this. And just moving on from there was we came together with them to create a local adaptation plan of action. How's the best way that our community can respond to the impact of climate change? And with that, they drafted out this document. We went to the Ministry of Environment in their states, bringing them together to talk about these issues. To say this is the best way that our community, this is the best way that our states can adapt, can get prepared for the issues that climate change brings about. So this is one example of a project that we have done as an organization. And with this project, we've created a lot of toolkits for us, for young people, for youth organizations that want to get involved in the NDCs to understand how it works. They could go on our website, nigerianyouthsdgs.org, to access these toolkits. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that example. Yes, and awareness raising is definitely where it starts from. And with the goals such as the climate action, I think many Africans don't realize how we can be part of actualizing that goal because the terminology can seem very strange and foreign to us. Like when you use terms like deforestation or the carbon footprints, or the ozone layers, people don't know that. But when you bring it down to the practical language, like, okay, have you noticed it hasn't been raining? Have you noticed that there are not as many fish in the rivers as there used to be? Have you noticed it's getting hotter? So this is why we're having this conversation, to know how are young people being part of bringing these broad rhetorical agendas to the grassroots level for us to actually understand that we have a role to play in achieving these global goals. So thank you so much for sharing that example. Eunice, over to you. I know you've engaged in several projects. Yes, you're muted. So
Yeah,
anyone
so
can
I've
share.
been in several projects. I don't know. Now it's thinking about what Joshua just said. I'm like overwhelmed in my head. What projects should I even share? What projects? But guys, I will, I will make it short by giving one from grassroots, one from national, and one from international. So it is in sync. The grassroots is very important to me. Just as I said, I came from a very small village in Wenchi, and um, in my village, it may be a cliche to say, but having a child after junior high school was our thing. It was ours. I remember some of my classmates on Facebook telling me not to call her by her name, but Adma, because she has two kids. So it was something that was going on, and we had an issue, and we didn't have a chief for 10 years. And we had I don't know much about I didn't want to get involved. We didn't have a chief for 10 years. So we a couple of years ago had a chief, and the chief personally reached out to me. And then he said, "Hey, there's an issue. I know you may not necessarily have the resources to change the issue, but I know a lot of young people look up to you. So there's an issue. The issue is teenage pregnancy." So I'm like, talking broadly about teenage pregnancy has become more or less like a cliche to me because it's like, what at all haven't you heard that you're still doing it? So I told my chief I was going to run a survey to see what was actually the cause. And on the survey, I realized that out of 10 people from ages 8 to 16, at least 8 of them has been touched by a family member. It could be their uncle. What breaks my heart is it could be their elder brother. And whenever these people get pregnant, the story that will come from them is, it's okay, it's a family matter, don't take it out. And then they stay in it, give birth. And then I have a friend who has 3 kids with the uncle. So I decided to probe more to ask these people about why or how they got there. Funny enough, most people fall into these people's arms simply because of a sanitary pad. They went to them to buy a sanitary pad for them. So you sleep with me, I get your sanitary pad. You sleep with me, then I get pregnant. There's no importance for the sanitary pad again. So to me, as someone who have lived in the city and the village, and lived in the city more because I moved from the village because my parents saw what I was doing and they thought I would be beaten up in the village or something. So they shipped me. And I'm like, wait, what? So I liaised with the talking about partnerships too with Joshua. I liaised with the chief together with the gender ministry of Ghana. And then we decided to move a lot of sanitary pads to my village. If I tell you the percentage of people that stop getting pregnant within a year of consistently sending a sanitary pad to my village, I I was I was surprised. Like it's something that I thought people should just get. But unfortunately, what you think is not is not the realities of people over there. So that is actually one project in my name that I am really proud of. It doesn't even have to come through the lenses of peace and security, but I was really happy that I get to see people move from one phase to the other simply because they got access to something as simple to as a sanitary pad. The national level dialogue. There has been instances where universities in Ghana have had issues with people in uniform or the police in Ghana. I don't know, but for some reasons, men in uniform and civilians seems to always have they don't understand each other. And I saw it also in Nigeria because I was in Nigeria for a couple of months working on youth involvement in governance, peace, and security. And I also heard such stories about people in uniform. I stand to be corrected though. Maybe they were just telling me stories. But Joshua, do I lie? It happens in Nigeria too. Thank you very much, Joshua. So I realized that we have grown not to understand them. The moment someone wears uniform, we see them to be at the other side. Just as Joshua said, the fight is not between us and them. It is an in sync structure that we are all building. If the community gets well, it is for you and I, regardless of you being in uniform or you being in shorts. So I realized that, and it was coming up in universities. You will go to school with someone, you people are mates, you graduate, this person gets into police, military, and you people are fighting. And I'm like, wait, what happened? So we decided to have a project called My Neighbor, My Enemy, My Neighbor, My Friend. That's the youth people insecurity dichotomy, where people are able to share their grievances and then the people in uniform are also able to listen. In this project, I liaise with the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, together with the Ministry of Defense, together with the university board, together with university students and people in uniform. But all three of them, immigration, police, military, all in one room, almost 700,000 of them. After laying the dynamics, we started having a conversation about it. It was a very emotional conversation where young people had to cry, expressing themselves over things they have been through with people in uniform. Apparently, from most of the people in uniform's perspective, and mind you, the IGP of Ghana, which is the Inspector General of Police, was present because he became apparently my boss and he had a close relationship with all the advocacy works I've been doing. So he heard the police talk about how they are supposed to exert force when people do not comply. And he heard the civilians also talk about how they feel the police should be there to protect them, but they are not giving them what they want. It's like justice is not being served. And according to Plato, we all know justice is giving man what is due him. So I think you're supposed to protect me. You think you're supposed to exert force when I'm not complying. So there is a disconnect somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, this led to the police revisiting their human intelligence banner, retraining almost 5,000 of them on how to work with civilians. And I know up until now, at the time I was there, that was 2023, we could count more than 5,000 people in uniform being trained in this angle. And I'm sure by now, a lot of them has been trained in this angle. And it has not stopped completely. I won't sit down here and say there's no issue of people in uniform and no, but it has reduced drastically. And that is my joy. Because I saw it happen in 2008. You remember the first story I shared? I saw it happen. So if it is happening again in 2023, something is wrong. The final one will be the continental aspect. So I had a stakeholder consultation. We had a stakeholder consultation on youth involvement in governance, peace, and security in 5 different African countries, which Nigeria was part. Apparently, Nigeria has a national action plan for youth, peace, and security, UNSCR 2250, and I know most of us here do not even know about the documents. It was sad. I met almost 40 civil society organizations in Abuja, and few of them knew about this document. The end date of the document is 2025 September next month, and they will have to do the phase two of the document. So I was there for the policy drafting and the restructuring of the phase two, and the people in the room didn't know about the document. And it's a perfect document, in my opinion, because I read back to back page. I don't like to be a sophist. I like to understand the dynamics before I go in the country context. Because one, I am not from the country. So if I'm talking, a lot of people will feel I'm the outside person. But just as I said, advocacy is for you and I. I don't care what your color is, whether pink or blue, provided it gives you a safe space to operate in a particular country. I'm in. So, upon liaising with these civil society organizations and understanding them, the reports were able to give back to whatever communities we visited. We visited Gambia, Senegal, Nigeria, we did Ghana, and then we did Kenya. And it was the dynamics. that led us there. Nigeria already had a national action plan. Gambia was already in the phase of developing a national action plan. And one thing is, no matter how big the document is, the youth charter is big. The youth charter is big. If we do not decentralize it to suit the country context, we will be working that work that is pouring on the surfaces like a debris. We will have to definitely structure it in our country context. The dynamics in Nigeria is totally different from the dynamics in Ghana, even though we all eat the same food and speak the same language. But if I look at Ghana in the lens of Nigeria, I'll be shooting myself in the leg. If I look at Nigeria in the lens of Ghana, I will equally be shooting myself because Nigeria is like this and Ghana is like this. Okay? The dynamics in Ghana is different. Nigerians are not rowdy. They want what they want. Ghanaians are not quiet until what we want has not been given to us yet. Some will react before the issue comes. Others will wait for the issue to come before they react. There's a reaction there. So upon seeing all these dynamics, we were able to give back the communique to their different ministry of youth. I know Nigeria has two different ministry of youth, one young lady and another person. I've forgotten their names, but I went to their offices. We had a conversation. We sent the documents back to them, which is going to feed in the new or the second phase of the National Action Plan. So these projects actually make me feel, oh, I'm not only a family disappointment, at least I've been able to do something with my life, which is giving back. And that word is so important to me. Whatever I see my purpose as whatever I do in life, feeding in the bigger picture of every community, at least the one I am in. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eunice. Sorry, I'm trying to manage my 1-year-old here. Just give me a minute.
Okay.
But I see a question from Ismail in the chat. Just sorry, give me a second.
It's okay. I'll hold you down. So let me check from Ismail. It says, what are the challenges our panelists witness, more especially when turning their efforts, sorry, I have a terrible eyesight, when turning their efforts into action. So, Joshua, what has been some of your challenges in turning your efforts into action? There's a second question, but let's take the first one.
Thank you, Eunice. For me, that's a good question, Ismail. And for me, it's been making them understand that we're in this together. That's it. And I'll give a something that's just happened even today. So recent our organization we wanted so Nigeria presented her third VNR, Voluntary National Review, at the High Level Political Forum in New York last month. And I had known that this was going to happen. So as of last year, I'd reached out to the government stakeholders to say, we would love to do a youth shadow report. Can you support us? And they were like, no, they didn't even respond. They're like, oh, go to the Ministry of Youth. We don't work with you. We don't work with youth. Go to the Ministry of Youth. And so at the end of the day, with zero funding, we were able to pull up a youth shadow report, which we presented through partnership and the likes. So just recently, at the youth shadow report we've done, I'd put it together and I'd sent it to someone who works in that same office to say, hey, this is the report we created of the voluntary national review. And when they've responded back to say, oh, your report does not give enough credit to the government and blah 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 was it was they commended us, but there was also criticism, which was also very good. And from me, what I was able to deduce from it was that our report served as like a compliment. It was to complement what they have done and to say that this what you've done is good, but it can be better if you had meaningfully engage young people in the process. You may have done consultations, that's good, but consultation is not enough. Were they involved in the actual drafting? Were they part and parcel of this process? Because that was what our own report was all about. So oftentimes um you're going to meet these challenges, you're going to meet these roadblocks, but it's always with the mindset that you go with. The mindset is it's about collaboration. So when you go to them to say, oh, we're collaborating, we want to be better, do it better with you, make you see how better to do it because of our own experience, that's been very helpful. Um, and then the next question you ask is that how can someone do partnership with some parastatals or agency because some ministries may refuse to listen to you? So how do you go about it? Again, you have to go to them with as someone who is solving a problem. People will not listen to you until they know that you are solving a problem. One of the things I've realized is that oftentimes people mask people the idea of partnership for many young people, for many youth organizations is asking people for money. Honestly, if those people had the money, they would have done the work. So oftentimes they don't have the money. So my common mantra has always been, if you want money, ask for advice. Because when you tell them, hey, can you do this? We're trying to do XYZ. Can you advise us on how to go about it? They'll give you advice and tell you that, hey, if in case you need additional help, let us know. But if you ask for money, they are going to give you advice. So the first thing is for every young person, when you are looking for partnership, don't go asking for money. Let them know this is what you're trying to do. Ask for advice. Like, is this something they've thought of? How can you do it better? And they will gladly give you the advice, and then they will give you and tell you, oh, if you need a venue, let us know. Many times it's happened to me. I'd gone last week, I was in Abuja, and I'd just gone to visit, I've just gone to an high commission just to say hello, find out how they are doing. And the next thing they've said was, hey, Joshua, if you are ever going to host any event, let us know. We have venues that we made available. All you just need to do is come with the concept, we would host everything. So for partnership, it has to be win-win. I've had young people reach out to me for partnership saying they are looking for 5 million to do an event for World Youth Skills Day. And me, my organization is doing an Instagram live. We are doing Instagram live. We are looking for, if I had 5 million, I would have done the event. So you have to be practical. You can't say, oh, we're doing this event and we want to get shirts, want to get branded shirts. No. What's the end goal? You have to be more collaborative. And oftentimes it's all about value for money. Recently, we hosted an event at the UN House. We did not spend 1 naira to host that event. 1 naira. Why? Because we're collaborative. We think win-win. We are asking them, what's the gap? We're trying to help them bridge the gap. They're trying to do stuff, but they can't do it. So we want to help them do it. And before you know it, the doors will open. So every time you go to a government parastatal, seek to help. Don't ask for help. Tell them what's the issue you have. Let me help you. How can we support you? Because the moment you say that, it shows that you are more I've had someone reach out to me to say, every time young people come to us, they always ask for money. You are the first person that has come to us. You've not asked for money. Rather, you've asked me, how can we help you? So please just go with that mindset. I'm sure these parastatals that are difficult, they will open up to you because just like you, a lot of people are reaching out to them for help. And they can't help anyone, but very few people are reaching out to them to support, asking them that how can we help you do things better. So please flip the coin from asking for money to asking for advice. Flip the coin from saying give me XYZ to saying how can I support you. I've noticed XYZ with your parastatal. I noticed that your website is bad. Is it that you're finding it difficult to do it? Oh, I noticed that your social media handle is not coming up well. Do you need somebody to
Offer
volunteer to
solutions.
help you? So every time just come with, yeah, that solutions. I'm handing it over to Eunice.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with whatever you just said. And if you come in, let me bring it down. Let me just break it down to human society. As a man and a woman, here in the US, we have different dynamics of what relationship means, but I'm just going to go with what we have in Africa. As a man and a woman, when you live together and you are a woman who is always demanding A, demanding B, but not giving A, not giving B, you become a liability. It is the same in partnerships. You come to me, oh, I write a very beautiful concept note. I need A, I need B, I need C. Meanwhile, it is not in even their strategic plan. You are not aligned. They will not give you anything. It is just the way it is. So if you go more in giving solution, this community lack ABC. This community is under your reach. Do you want to provide this community with high-borne water? Oh, yes, I've been planning on doing this, but I've never had the time. I have the time. All you have is time, and then you are able to help. And it starts with the most minute ones. Advocacy, let me bring us all into the simplest way we can understand the impacts of the advocacy we are doing. In some years ago, or some time ago, there were no shield covering desk. When you go to offices now, you see most of their desk, they have this thing covering it. I don't know if you guys can see. That is a very simple understanding of advocacy. There were times in life where women have to advocate that when they sit in offices, inside their tie was showing. Advocacy, we don't want our ties to show. Solution, we build a desk that has a cover. There were time in point, or there was a point in time where there were no lights on streets. People advocated for lights on streets. Now we have something we call street lights. Okay, so we may not see the impact of our advocacy hitting on hard rocks, but it is the most important. Everything that has had a change in our communities is through the lens of advocacy. Someone saw a problem, saw how the person will be able to help with the solution, pitched it into people, added partnerships, and now they have it. And one thing you should know is it wouldn't come from one day. Like you said you wanted this, tomorrow you have it. No. If you get it like that, I salute you. But it is almost always incremental. Takes one phase, the other phase, and then finally you reach wherever you want to reach.
Yes.
Okay, that is exactly how it happens. I saw a question that was very interesting by Queen, and
Yes.
Queen said, "What are the most practical ways for young people?" Is Miss Oye here?
Yes, yes, I am. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
then you read
I
Queen's question.
really appreciate you stepping in and you're doing a great job. And I just want to be mindful of time. But I love the conversations that we're having. And yes, to Queen's question, Queen is actually asking, what are the most practical ways for young leaders, especially in rural communities, to contribute in advancing the SDGs, especially when they do not have access to big platforms or networks? Such a
I'll
very
go first.
important question. Yes, go ahead, Eunice.
See every small problem as big. Every single small. When you are walking out as a young leader or as an advocate, look for loopholes. I did it. There was a time we had COVID in Ghana. Did you guys have COVID in Nigeria?
Yes, we did.
Okay, we had terrible COVID cases in Ghana. And I remember the first time the president sat, I think the president was addressing the states every week, every Sunday or something. I've forgotten. And the first time the president sat to address the country, um, there was no sign language interpreter. And we have a percentage of Ghanaian people being hearing impaired. And we are all listening to one message that the government is sending to the people of Ghana. And this percentage of people were not being covered. So a young person from another village from the northern region wrote a letter to my organization that I was working with back then. he was hearing impaired, that he saw a video of the government trying to address the country, but unfortunately, they were not involved. And that broke something in me. As I talk, that young person holds a whole coalition for people living with disability in his society, which gets constant funding through my organization. Constant funding. It may be something very minute. He saw it as this, we were not part. We were removed out of it. We wrote a letter to the presidency. They responded the letter. We have evidence of, we actually printed it on our Hall of Fame. We have evidence of the things the president saw. The next time the president was doing the same addressing of the state, there was someone interpreting it. So you see, as a leader, if you are okay with something not going well, we will grow to be the people we are trying to make change with. Because change starts with you. It starts with the things you have seen that you are able to work so someone else will not see. As a leader, all what you have to do is to make sure your experience is making the people behind better. If you are a leader and you see something terrible and your followers equally see something terrible, you are a terrible leader. But your joy should come from fixing whatever you saw so the next person picking the cup will not see the same thing. We leave to make a change. You don't change to make a leave. Okay? Thank you.
Awesome. Great, great. Thank you so much for that, Eunice. Joshua, do you want to add on to what she said in response to that question?
No,
Okay.
no, that's all right. I just shared some resources that she could look at. It just starts by volunteering.
Mhm.
That's where Eunice started. That's
Yes.
how I've started. Start by volunteering. You don't need a big
Yeah.
platform. You just need a heart. Start from your church, start from your community, go for cleanups, help that little community organization. And I've just shared a resource. There's a video resource. Alongside the video resource, we've created an SDGs playbook that has like practical actions that you can take in your community. So whichever one you're comfortable checking out, just do it and just start. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, and thank you for sharing that resource. We're all about ensuring that young people have the resources because I was talking to my team yesterday, and I said, what is keeping you from living your best life? And I'll actually post that to all of you that are on here. What is that thing that's keeping you from living your best life? And I wasn't expecting this response, but she said that she needs somebody to groom her for the kinds of spaces she wants to get into. And so that's like mentorship.
Oh,
And yes, and I
that's so
realized,
cool.
and another young person also said the same thing, that she just needs access to knowledge, she needs access to information. And that's why it just reminded me of why we do these webinars. We want to ensure that young people never say, I did not know, I don't have access to this information. So for us, it's really oh, I'm seeing that Eunice is requesting multiple presenters. I'm not sure if you wanted
Yeah,
to add on.
we
Okay.
want to hear from the people what they wish they also
Oh,
had.
okay. Oh, yeah. But yeah, so I was just saying that part of what we do here is to share that resource. My last question for the panelists before we wrap up um is hold on a second. Yeah, so my final question is if you could give a challenge to our audience of one action they should take following this webinar, what would that be? So for me, it's really not about just hosting webinars. Of course, I wanted to celebrate the work that both of you do, you're incredible youth leaders, but it's really about how can we inspire other people to take up the charge as well. So what is one thing that you would challenge the audience to do? Just one specific action, and any of you can go first.
Joshua, you want to take it first or I should?
All right, so what I would say, action that you can take from here is to understand that one, even the organization, because I'm just looking at the message from Godwin on the chat, even the organizations that you are reaching out to, oftentimes they are overwhelmed. I've had people who have reached out to me saying, "Hey, Joshua, I want to support you," but even to respond to the email, it's a lot because of the work that I am doing. So oftentimes when you hear people not coming back to you, it's either the work is a lot and they need help. So I would encourage that you extend grace to them and look out for other organizations, smaller ones that would be more open to working with you. But the action that you can take from here is to one, understand that partnership is a two-way street. You might want the partnership, somebody else might not want the partnership. So please go to that organization that you know would be ready to partner with you, would be willing to volunteer with you, and from there grow yourself. We all grow by service. So please look for an organization that don't look for those big ones. Don't look for those ones that they have like really good social media. Look out for the small ones that really need your help and provide your expertise to them genuinely as a volunteer. We are all working together. So every contribution that we make here is contributing to a better world. So that's one. And secondly is as a young change maker, do not stop investing in your own capacity. Keep learning. Eunice has talked about the UN resolution 2250. Read about it if you are interested in youth peace and security. Read about it. Find out what's the national youth policy in Nigeria. What's the national youth policy in your in your country? Is it being implemented? What do you need to do? And just spark up that conversation in your community. And from there, I'm sure that you're going to see a difference in even your own person because of the knowledge that you're acquiring. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joshua. And thank you, Miss Ohie. I will say start now. There's no other time, my dear. The time is now. You don't have to be grown to start. I started at age maybe 8 or 10, and my mother was beating me to stop. I still started. One thing is know your purpose and work on it regardless. Finding your purpose can be one of the most diciest thing in life. Read about it. Building your own capacity will make you elevate whoever is behind you because the words you cannot pour from an empty cup is very instrumental in this our job. You can't help people with things you don't know. So build your own capacity. In your quest of building your own capacity, carry people along. Advocacy cannot only be great through your lens. You coming together with people, building stakeholders, building partnership is where you are going to reach a lot of people. And if you want to get into international spaces, they will need your local experience. There is almost 1% of people who just started with UN. They just started with UN. Very little. But you will always find people who were in a local organization, moved into a civil society organization, moved into a national organization, moved into an international organization, moved into AU, moved into UN. And that's the hierarchy. They are grassroots in I don't know if most of us are from West Africa, you move from being in your grassroots, your local organization, into being in national organizations. Like you are working for building blocks for peace. You are working for Nigeria Coalition for SDG, Joshua's group. You are working for other groups, and you are serving your country. After that, you said, "Oh, I've served my country enough. I want to work with the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center." That was my center. I'm like, oh, I want to work with Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. Just as the book says, what's in your hands? What's in my hands is I have experience with working with grassroots. I have experience with working with the national agendas. That means you have stable understanding of what it means to be in advocacy, to be in diplomacy, to be in development space. Because an international organization is an international organization. They are going to measure you in the angle. Okay, you join Kofi Annan. I'm like, I'm still a youth. I want something bigger. African Union has something called the African Youth Volunteer Corps. Joshua, please type it in for me. The African Youth, am I able to type here? The African Union Youth Volunteer Corps. And they pick cohorts every single year. I was part of the 12 cohorts. And how I got into that space was just because I walked into the room. Guys, as young people, let's not play with our tenacity. Miss Oye, if I have some time, I will share this story. It's going to be within 2 minutes. I was working with a fintech organization. A fintech is financial, technical. They do a lot of IT, Bitcoin, Litecoin, things like that. And I wanted to so much be into diplomacy. Just as I said, it has always been my thing. But after Ghana school, you have to do your national service. I know that is what Nigeria do with the military uniform. I don't know. There's some, they call it NY something.
Yes,
We have a t-shirt.
NYSC, the National Youth Service Corps.
Exactly.
Yes, yes.
Exactly. We call it national service. So you dress like military, but we work in different organizations. So in my organization was a fintech organization, but that wasn't my purpose. I still wanted advocacy. One time I was scrolling on LinkedIn and I saw that the African Union Gender Directorate was having a program at the African what's the name of AFTA again? African Continental Free Trade Area.
Yes.
Yes, they were having it and it was in Ghana. So I saw the message around 10, 12 a.m. The meeting started at 9. Tenacity. I woke up, dressed very well like I belong, held my laptop because I was working from home, and I entered that room. And it was those rooms that the panels are sitting here, the gate is also here, and every other person is in this side of the hall. So when you enter, they are all watching you. I entered that room. Was I invited? No. Did I still go? Yes. So I entered that room and they were doing introduction. Oh, I'm here. I work with the UNSC. I'm like, hey, God, why am I here again? But there was a drive in me that I have done this job and I have to move from there. Tenacity. It got to my turn. I'm like, oh, hello. I'm so sorry if I didn't have an invitation. That scratched out. My name is Eunice Kisiwaa, and I've been in advocacy for several years. And I've never really had the chance to work with people like you because I know you drive the continental agenda. I have so many questions, but I think here will be the space I'll be able to meet most of you people to ask my questions and to know more about the system. I never asked for a job. I never asked what they do. I read before I went. So after the meeting, one of the head called me. He's like, "What did you say you do again?" I'm like, "Oh, I work with fintech." And he said, "You know what? There is this thing called the African Youth Volunteer Corps by the African Union. You should apply. I think you'll be a great candidate." I applied. After months, I got in it. And that thing changed my life. That thing, it is the same purpose, it is the same onuses that I work when I go for high level meetings in UN. Let's start a conversation that I'm from a village in Wenchi. My village and the central capital of Ghana is 10 hours. 10 hours drive
Wow.
with terrible roads.
Wow.
So that is how it works. Enter that room. Shyness can be part of the things hindering you. Work on yourself. In the Abraham Maslow's theory of needs, all of them you can get support from people, but the self-actualization comes from you. So
Mm.
go to that room, make things uncomfortable for you. If you are not a good public speaker, I was like you. I used to stutter. In other words, I used to stammer or something.
Mm.
The people that cannot bring words, we be
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
So I talk so fast so I can get my words out. I worked on it. Bold chest work on it, like reading out loud so I could hear myself talk. And all of these things, the investment in myself, because I knew where I was going. If you know where you are going, you don't sit down until you get there.
Yeah,
I'm not there yet. Am I? No. Will I get there? Yes. Because I know whatever I put my mind to, I should be able to do it. Thank you.
exactly. Exactly. Wow. Let's see the emojis and the claps. I mean, this, I have to admit, this has actually been one of my favorite webinars I've hosted this year. No, I mean, no bias or anything like that. I'm just seeing Eunice for the first time actually, but we've been connected on LinkedIn, and I'm having ideas for things that we're going to do. And one of them is I have a workshop coming up on August 30th on purpose, because Eunice talked about you have to know your purpose in order to even to have that courage to step into certain spaces. And Eunice, you and I, we both share that daring spirit. Like I would walk up to an embassy that I don't know any single person, and I will act like I'm supposed to be there. I'll walk into a meeting. So, I mean, there's so much we can share, but if you're interested, I posted the link there. It's a free workshop. And I'm hoping that it will be the beginning of really helping young people discover who they are and what they are actually called to do in life, because I see a lot of young people are struggling in that area. But thank you so much, Joshua. Thank you so much, Eunice. I know that this was a bit of a last minute and we were trying to get it in, but I truly and deeply appreciate both of you for making time to be here. We went a little over, but I think the audience found this conversation very valuable. So I encourage you all to keep doing the work that you're doing. We see you. I know it gets frustrating. I understand, but keep doing it. And the message I have for the audience is to know that every little bit you do is adding up. I know that one of the things I was disappointed by when I was at the high level political forum, hearing Nigeria present our voluntary national review. And really, I didn't hear any outcomes. I didn't hear any, we used to be here, this is where we are now. Like, take the SDGs that we're
Very true.
doing. Like, it was just very, oh,
Very true.
we hosted meetings. They were showing me pictures of all the
Just
regional
meetings
meetings they
upon
had. And I'm like,
meetings, no impact.
what is the outcome? So as young people, I want to challenge us. When you are thinking of development, you want to be able to access your impact. You want to monitor, you want to be able to evaluate. You want to say, last year, I love the example that Eunice gave about how teenage pregnancy, how providing sanitary pads for a whole year, how it's changed or turned around teenage pregnancy in a village. The same thing you can, someone asked about how can someone in a rural community get started. These are simple ideas you can start. Or teaching a girl to read and write, how that would change the trajectory of her family and turn the cycle of poverty around. Or even boys, there's so many things we can do with peace and security and addressing violence in our communities, sexual and reproductive health. Just by educate, I was watching a show. There's this guy called Brain Jotta. Sorry, I'm going to wrap up now because it's time. Brain Jotta, he's a comedian, Nigerian, but I was watching a show,
Yeah,
and
I know
in
him.
one of the episodes, a young girl was crushing on a copper. So a copper, so in Nigeria, they have this youth service, and the copper was assigned to this school. He's a young, I guess to her, the guy was a handsome man. So a young student was crushing on him. And of course, in Nigeria, if like you tell a teacher that, oh, this girl is crushing on like a copper, they'll just like, look at you, you're a useless girl, nuisance. But another fellow female copper just called the girl aside and said, oh, you like this guy? Why do you like him? And the way she engaged him in conversation, I'm just using that as an example of the things that we can do just from advising a young girl, because when society condemns girls, it actually makes them do things that they wouldn't, or they would regret later on. But if you sit a girl down and say, okay, this is actually why we say don't have sex until you're married, or don't have sex until you have a committed partner, like we have to be able to advise young people, and these things will add up to creating the kind of sustainable societies that we want to see. But anyway, I've just stepped on my soapbox. But thank you all so much for being for being here.
And so
Joshua,
I have,
yes, okay.
if I have 2 minutes, I'll be very glad.
Okay, it's the audience. I mean, as long as you all are
Yes.
fine, we're here for you. Okay, go ahead, Eunice.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Oh wow, this is fun.
Okay. So now we are going to take just three people and you are going to tell us what you heard. And this is not going to be from me so that you say I was the one that said it. Your name will pop up.
Mm. Queen.
Okay, Queen. So tell us what you are taking away today before your
No, I
questions.
just knew my name would come up.
Because I want to get everybody to talk. We are not going to be the only ones talking.
Okay, I think for me the one thing that really stood out was when Joshua talked about instead of asking for money, ask for advice.
Ask for advice.
Um, led organization. So the first instinct is send proposal for money, and most times it doesn't come back with.
Mm-hmm.
But this strategy now shows me that instead of asking for money, go with this is the problem I have. How can you advise me to solve it? And you
Good
never know
job.
what. Yeah, that's
Good
it.
job. Good job, Queen. I'm clapping for you. The next person we will take is not from me, guys. I don't have any. Ellen. Aliyah. Is Aliyah here?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think you didn't spell it wrong. It's
Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Only good to see you.
The
Thank
pleasure
you.
is
You
all
as
mine.
well. I wish I could see your face.
Yeah. Yeah. That was in Delta. Yeah,
Okay.
I was your husband's colleague there.
Oh, thank you for joining.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I actually joined in when Eunice was trying to round up. So and from the summary you gave, I think one key thing that I've picked is understanding purpose, understanding your purpose. So that's one key thing I've picked. Um, a lot of people they have passion, but they don't understand their purpose. So they don't have direction as to what to do, where to go, who to talk to, you know. So I think that's just one key thing that I have picked from what has been going on so far.
Thank you very much. We will pick the last two. Ellen, I'm sorry, I know I butchered your name. Is she here? Is she here? Then we'll take the last person. Ismael. Is Ismael around?
Let me see.
Okay, Ismael is not around. Thank you, guys. That was all.
All right. Thank you so much, Eunice. That was a great addition to this. I really love that. All
That's how
right.
I used to catch people that are not paying attention.
Yes, you're a teacher. All right,
Oh,
everyone.
Ismael is around.
Oh,
Please
Ismail,
come
go
up.
ahead. Go ahead. Or maybe type it in the chat if you're having issues speaking up.
Can I talk, ma?
Yes,
Yeah.
Goodwill. Go for it.
Well, thank you very much. I think I'm acting on tenacity, and she said you have to be bold, and I think I need to seize the opportunity to be bold. I really pay attention to what Eunice was saying about the way the officers were handling a lot of issues, and I think it's quite very important that we need to pay attention to all those things. A lot of people might feel that it's not really necessary to do most of those advocacy. But I think at that point, it has really changed a whole lot in Ghana because I follow Ghana a whole lot. I follow their politics, their system of government, and everything. And I can really see that the changes are there. And for someone like me who has passion for advocacy, I think today I've learned a whole lot. I've learned about passion. I've learned about how to go about doing things. And I think it's going to be a good way for me to start up. And I have to dare the daring. So thank you very much, ma. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Awesome. Wow, wow. You all, I mean, more people are still joining us right now, but we have to go. Maybe we'll do a part two and bring back Eunice and Joshua because I think both of you have really hit some really key areas for the audience and they don't want to leave. But we have recorded this session. We'll make it available. So if you know people that need to hear this information, need to be connected to these resources, please share with them. Eunice and Joshua, if you don't mind sharing your LinkedIn profiles so we can connect with you. Once again, I'm Onini Ede Vincent, founder of the Adolescent and Youth Engagement Hub. We try to host webinars every month, so stay tuned. We're hoping to do bigger and better things. One of our events actually is a free workshop coming up at the end of this month, really trying to help young people discover what are your gifts, what are your passions, and what is your story? Because the idea is that these three things will help you define and determine your purpose. All right. Okay. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and see you at the next event. Bye, everyone. Oh, please drop your LinkedIn profiles. Yes. Awesome. Oh, one more thing. For those of you that are, oh, Joshua, did you want to say something? Oh, okay. I see some people are
Need
still
to
on.
leave now.
Okay, you have to leave. Okay, you can go. Well, for people
Yeah.
that are still on, stay tuned. I forgot to make this announcement, but we have a guide for young leaders. Eunice, I'm actually going to share this with you to get your thoughts on it. But I get a lot of questions about young people just not knowing how to navigate UN meetings. So we developed this guide, and we hope to launch it before the end of this month. So stay tuned and bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Joshua and Arthur and Solomon. Really appreciate you being here.
Good afternoon, Mom.
Good afternoon, Solomon. All right, let me stop.